All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm excited about my guest today. I've known Jared for quite some time. In fact, he is a past client of mine, a friend of mine, and also a fellow coworker with me. So, super excited to have Jared on the show with us today. He is a top producing agent in the Nashville market, with Compass. And so, if you're looking to buy or sell a property in Nashville, you're going to want to reach out to him. We're going to have his contact information at the end of today's show. But more importantly, we're going to hear his story today about his start in real estate. But we're going to go back before that. So, Jared, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I feel like I started my journey with you and now to come full circle and be on the Aaron Zapata podcast. This is pretty amazing.
Hey, I'm glad to have you here. And although we started together, you did all the work. I mean, I got to give you credit. You put in the time and the heartache and the headache. But let's start before that, Jared. Tell me about your desire to get into real estate and go back to the college days like you and I were talking about before the show.
Yeah, I graduated college in 2002. Also got married a week after I graduated college. And so all I ever wanted to do while in college was get into real estate in some capacity and be a realtor. But right when I got out of college, I had also good opportunity to go work for the company my dad had worked at for 45 plus years. And that was Raytheon, a big defense company, aerospace company there in the Fullerton area, El Segundo area. So I actually went and did that because it provided. It was a W-2 job paid every 2 weeks and salaried position. And so it provided. But my heart and desire was always to go into real estate, just never had the opportunity to jump into it because to get
Yeah.
into real estate, you have to have some significant money to hold yourself over for that first year. So that's kind of where I started. And then I spent 20 years in the corporate world
Mm.
within aerospace, and I had a good stint at Shea Homes, one of the largest family-owned home builders. And so I got to go to work for them and absolutely loved it. And that's where I first dipped my feet into real estate. I was a sales rep at one of their model homes. And I quickly learned that that really doesn't even scratch the surface on what it means to be a realtor. But I had my license, and so did that, but then I did that from 2006 to 2008. And you know what happened in
Okay.
2008?
Oh, yeah, 2008. The
Yeah,
housing market exploded, like imploded,
yes.
really.
And so I had to go back into the aerospace industry after that. And so I was back into the corporate world for another 10 years.
Okay. And then you and I were working together when I was selling your home here in
Yeah.
Southern California. And
Yeah.
your family made the big move to Tennessee,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And I remember selling your home, taking the picture of your family jumping in front of the house, right? And I sent you that picture and we had it on Facebook. And off you went. And, lo and behold, I get a call from you in 2019, I think.
18.
18, and you said, "Hey, have you ever thought about being licensed or opening an office in Tennessee?"
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember my response, Jared. What
June
was
of 2018. Yeah, you said I've been praying about it, and that's funny you reached out to me, and we kind of just went forward from there. It's pretty cool.
we did? So Jared, you had that itch. You had to scratch it. You said, "I want to go back into real estate." Walk me through that. I know we started the office. You got licensed there in Tennessee. What was it like those first couple of years in real estate? Now that you are full time, you've committed to it.
Yeah, well, I remember talking to you, and you first made me read a great book that was written by my broker at that time, you. So I read your book, and it just talked about the pros and cons, but it really highlighted the cons. And so getting into real estate, I was really excited about it, but I was also leaving a very well-paying salaried position. And after talking to you and kind of looking at the pros and cons, we saved up some money.
Hmm.
And so we saved up about a year's of salary of what it would take to do something like this. Because I read the statistic once that 95% of agents that leave the corporate world and go into real estate are back in the corporate world after that first year because of
Yeah.
the failure rate.
Yeah.
And so after talking to you, we kind of prayed about it and we decided in June, July to open up an office here. And then I finished all the education and got my license in November, December, and you and I opened that office in January 2019.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
it's been exciting. It was exciting, watching you, Jared. So you had your savings, and I
Hmm.
remember your first year, we started having you promote yourself and do
Yep.
social
We
media.
did a grand opening. You flew out.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and we did all of that, right, to announce the fact that you're doing real estate. And that first year, I would call it a success, but I remember talking to you about how you still lost money. Remember
Hmm.
that first year? Tell us
Oh
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, my goal was 12 deals that year. I ended up doing nine. I did around 3.5 million. But to make money in real estate, you got to spend money in real estate, right? And so I was spending money on a weekly and monthly basis in marketing, collateral, and also I decided in the beginning to put my money and a lot of my marketing budget into people, and so I was doing 3 to 5 appointments a week, just reaching back into my sphere and taking people to lunch, taking people to coffee, and really kind of explaining, hey, I'm in real estate now. If you're ever looking to buy or sell, or if anybody else that you know is, I would love to be that guy. And so the first year was a lot of that, and then a ton of open houses. I did open houses Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We said a lot of no's to our kids when they wanted things. We told them it was going to be the year of no.
Yeah.
Because you're not making a ton of money. I consider it really successful, but we still did not make a ton of money because of the money that was being spent. Plus, nine deals isn't a lot, but it's a lot for a new agent. So it was a success.
Yeah, you were rookie of the year for us that year, I
Mhm.
believe, and you did nine deals from nothing. And
Yeah.
most agents, Jared, most newer agents, which is mostly our audience, they look at what you and I do now, 7, 8, 10, 20 years into the business, and they think they're going to be there overnight. They think those paychecks are going to come just like they do in the corporate world. But you were in it for 3 or 4 months before you even closed your first deal. Is that
Oh
right?
yeah, April. So April was my first deal, and I was, I quit my job in December, and
Yeah.
so January, February, March, April, and I didn't get that paycheck until because it was the end of April, so it was a May paycheck.
Yeah.
So having that savings was significant, but I treated that 100,000. We had $100,000, and we treated that as a salary disbursement. So there was never an urgency. I said, okay, if I get to month 9 or 10, since I have 12 months of savings, and I haven't done a single deal. I got to go to plan B. And what's plan B? I'm going back in the corporate world.
Yeah.
And so I knew that when I got that deal in April, I was like, okay, well, I could pay myself back. So I was paying myself back, right? And so I was
Hmm.
still
Hmm.
paying more out of pocket because I wasn't making any money. But as I closed a deal, we would pay ourselves back, and then we would take our kids to get an ice cream with every closing. So that was a lot of fun.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, every single closing, we go downtown Franklin and we go get an ice cream for every closing. Can't do that
I
anymore.
can't do that anymore because you guys
No.
would all be
Yeah.
overweight. I'm just
Yes.
saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
We
that's
maybe if
too
we
much ice
maybe we
cream.
did a healthy option, we could do it.
That'd be
Uh,
too much ice cream. Now you could do like those wheatgrass, drinks
yep.
from
Yeah.
Nectar or something.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great, actually.
Yeah, I love the fact that you involved your family in this. Your wife was on board, your kids were on board, because so many realtors get into this business and it's just their solo venture, but they're married, they have kids, and nobody's really on board.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. How did that work in your
Yeah.
family?
Yeah, no, that was great. So my wife knew I always wanted to do this, and so she was very uh I don't want to say fearful. She was anxious a little bit just because I was leaving a six-figured salary job that very provided for our family.
Yeah.
And we were comfortable. But she also knew this was a really good opportunity since we moved to Tennessee and the market seemed like it was a great market to get into. And she kind of knew my personality and that I would be a fit for something like this. And I kind of had that hunch as well. So we prayed about it, we thought about it, and she said, I trust you. We'll figure it out. Like, even if it doesn't work, it's all going to be okay. Like, I'll
Yeah.
go get a job and I'll figure it out. So she was trustworthy in that. And then my kids were excited. We sat
Mm.
them down. We just said, listen, dad's going to quit his job and I'm going to be a realtor. So it was an adventure for them. They were
Mm.
a little younger. I think Nicholas was 10 and Madeline was 12. And we really created a fun aspect of it. And then with every closing, it was exciting because we got to celebrate that as a family. But we also told them, hey, yeah, like what I was saying before, it's going to be a year of a lot of no's. We stopped going out to eat with our friends after church. They would always say, "Hey, you want to go?" No, we got to go home. And some of our, our closest friends were in it with us. They would grab food and come over to our house, and we would hang out, and that was our new time. So we always talk about it too being the scariest, most exciting thing we've ever done.
Mm,
And it also brought us really close together as a family because if we weren't all in agreement on something like this, it couldn't just be me saying, "Hey, I'm doing this,"
hmm
and detaching from the family. We all had to be so involved in this because it was very stressful. It could have been a more stressful situation, but it was a sweet time because we grew a lot closer together, and all we had was each other during that time. And it was great. It was a great experience. I love even just thinking back to that year. Didn't make a lot of money, but we had a blast. Again, it
Yeah.
was the most scariest, most exciting thing we've ever done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what's funny is, that's going on internally, that's going on in your home.
Oh
And
yeah.
all the while this struggle's happening, you started to get great compliments from
Yeah.
people that didn't know you so well. What were the things that they were saying because they saw all your activity?
But yeah, well, I made it a point to, I didn't have social media before I did this. And so right when I started doing this, I created my social media and I started doing a ton of open houses. And I was getting calls from people, and people were saying, because since they were following me now, "You're killing it. You're killing it. You're killing it. You just started and you're killing it." And I wasn't killing it. I was just, I was using the open house method to really create, uh, I'm experienced, I'm in the business, I'm in the market, I'm doing this, and I'm selling homes. And they all just thought that those were my homes. Well, obviously they're not. They're designed to hold an open house for someone else and get buyers, right? And it was
Hmm.
working.
Hmm.
It was working.
Yeah.
And so in business, it's all about the perceived value, right? And you want to give a perceived value that you are busy, you are networking, you are confident, even when you don't know the answer. That's sometimes hard. It's okay not to know the answer, but you still got to be confident. And you got to
Yeah.
carry yourself right because people can sniff that out. And so I did those things really, really well. I'm not book smart. I'm really good with people, and never really did well in school, but I've just excelled with relationships, and this is all relationships. And so just really maximize my relationships and maximize social media to be able to market myself because it's free, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so everything was a post, everything was, I didn't care if I was annoying in people's feeds. I wanted to make sure they knew I was working and I was busy and I was, first thing they thought of when they thought I was Jared Johnson was that he was a realtor. Not that he was a soccer player, not that he went to school,
Hmm.
not that he
Hmm.
did this, but just that if they thought of me, if they thought of a realtor, they were going to think of me first.
Yeah. And I think that's important because people that know you outside of real estate, they either ask you about your family, the sports people, the sports teams you love. They talked about politics. They talk about church. They talk about
Yeah.
anything but real estate. And you have to change that transition. Like you have to create that transition in their mind. And
Yep.
Jared, you did that really well. Watching it, looking back at it, you created social media all about real estate. And I know it wasn't long after you did that that people started just asking you about real estate,
Yeah.
which is
Yep.
exactly what you needed and what you wanted. And so let's fast forward. You started doing more than 20 deals a year and you started getting more and more buyers calling you. And for the first 5, 6 years, that's almost exclusively what you did, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the first 3 years was 95% buyers. Yeah. Yeah. Now I would say it's 60/40. So it's still a lot of buyers just because of the
Hmm.
area that we're in, right?
Hmm.
But we're doing a lot of listings as well. So,
Yeah. So walk me through this now, okay? You are at Compass.
yep.
Walk me through your current day. Walk me through your current strategy. What's working for Jared right now?
Yeah, so a day in the life of me. I'm still touring a lot of buyers all over the place, and so I'll always start in the office. I always leave my house and come to the office. I feel like I can just get in the right mindset from a work perspective. So I always make sure I leave my house and come to the office, and I check so I'll check my CRM and I'll check all my buyers' feeds and I'll see what they're commenting on. I'll see what homes they've favorited. I'll check my listing and I'll check the schedules of inspections. Like today, we have a closing tomorrow, so documents are being sent out to my California buyers that they're signing in Buena Park, actually. And so they're signing all those documents, and we're closing tomorrow. And so we have to do a final walkthrough today. So final walkthroughs, we got to do some earnest money deposits. We just put a house under contract on. So if that helps in understanding just on the ground level of a day in the life. A lot of it is also relationships. I also started this morning out. I came into the office and then I went and had coffee with some clients as
Hmm.
well. So my I know I'm constantly meeting with people, constantly, and I'm seeking that out. There's a lot of agents. You said when I first started, no one, don't be a secret agent. Like
Yeah.
the only kind
Yeah.
of secret agent you want is in law enforcement, right? And so
Yeah.
we really want to put ourselves out there, but you have to put yourself out there. And that's something I love doing. Not a lot of people like doing that.
Hmm.
And I truly feel you're going to fail miserably if you can't put yourself out there and be proactive and in seeking out and maintaining those relationships.
Well, and Jared, I have to say you do that really well. You don't do it from like a I'm desperate to meet with people.
Yeah.
You simply text or call and say, "Hey, I'm in town, you're in town. There's a great coffee shop down the street. I want to introduce you to the owner, blah blah blah. Why don't we go have coffee?"
Yep.
Right?
$100%.
And they're like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, let's fit it into let's fit
And
it in."
because they're following me on social media already, the organic conversation is, dude, you closed 3 deals last week alone. And then we
Mm-hmm.
just start talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it comes up in conversation versus me having to say, hey, do you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell? I don't need to say that anymore because of how active I am in their feed from a real estate perspective. And you know what? Those conversations were happening before I sold a single deal
I know
because
they
I
were.
was making sure I was posting real estate content. I was in people's feeds. So at least they brought it up. It might not have been closed deals, but it was all about real estate. It was data that I was posting. It was neighborhoods. It was local spots. It was hey, I'm touring, I'm doing a video of myself. Hey, I'm previewing a house. Like there are so many social media contents you can do as a new agent to
Mm-hmm.
just for activity purposes to build content.
So we've all met the agent that's newer, that is intimidated, afraid, feel like they're an imposter to do that. Did you ever struggle with that?
No, no, and I meet with new agents all the time. I was meeting with an agent last week, and I want to tell you why no. Like I didn't struggle with it because I didn't let myself struggle with it. You will allow yourself to struggle with it, or you will push that aside and you will fight through it. And it's not to discourage anyone that has that, but you got to figure out a way to get over that. You
Mm-hmm.
got to figure out a way to push through that because this is your livelihood, and it's if you're going to do this, it's all on you. It's this is a commission thing. If you don't get through that and quickly, you're going to fail miserably. So you got to figure out a way to be confident, to trust in the Lord that this is going to work out for your
Mm-hmm.
good because
Mm-hmm.
it is if you that's not to say there's ever any times I was anxious or worried about something, but I'm going to go after something with confidence and I'm going to go into a listing appointment where they're interviewing or a buyer's consultation where they're interviewing 3 agents. They're going to pick me. I guarantee it. And that's the type of attitude that you have to go in there with. And if they don't for some crazy reason, then that's okay. You move on. We had people
Yeah.
fly out here from Columbia or to Columbia, Tennessee, and they came out from Orange County and they were interviewing 5 agents. I was the third agent on the list. They stopped everything after the coffee that I took them to. We spent an hour and a half just hanging out. And they said, you've answered all the questions that we've had for everybody else. They couldn't even answer. You've already answered them. We haven't even asked you them yet. So how can you build that relationship in a first impression? You only get one chance for a first impression. How can you do that
Mm-hmm.
and do it well? So your question was, hey, have you struggled with being timid or fearful? I haven't struggled in front of clients. I just go after it. And it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
tenacity that you have to do,
Yeah.
my opinion.
Well, and that's a true like characteristic of an agent that survives. You
Yes,
have to
yes.
be persistent. You have to, get knocked down 6 times and you get up 6 times and you keep going looking for the seventh knockdown, right? You just don't quit. And I remember working with you at the first year, at the end of the first year, and I believe you said, look, I basically broke even this year, but I got stuff coming that's going to make next year better. So
Hmm.
after year two, year three, where are you at now in your
Yeah.
career? Just, I mean, we're only 7 years into it. Where are you
Yeah.
at now? Tell me about what's
So
going on.
last year in 2025, 75% of agents, do you know how many deals they did? 75% of agents across the US did two or less deals. Two or less deals. Last year was my biggest year ever at 40, almost 43 million. And right now, and about 60 deals. And right now, I'm getting ready to cross the 200 million threshold in total sales. And it's been a blast.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, Jared. Congratulations on that. And your family's still intact. Your kids are still excited, right? Now, how old are your kids now, and what are they up to?
My daughter's 21 and well, she'll be 21. Sorry. In July, she'll be 21. She's actually working, Aaron. She's the location manager, the operations manager of the place where we opened up our office in originally. So she's now an adult, has a salaried position, and she's the location manager. So I'm still in downtown Franklin. I'm just in the office, the Compass offices. So I get to walk over to her and see her. And then my son is, he's a senior in high school. So they've come a long way.
And have you been able to, invest in real estate yourself, or you've been able
Yeah.
to set yourself up? Because that's the dream, right? Most people getting into real estate want to either buy a real estate, they want to sell real estate, they want to make a lot of money, but they don't necessarily do it. How's that worked out for you?
Yeah, we bought a rental last year, or a year and a half ago. We bought a rental in Thompson Station, which is just south of Franklin. And so my daughter and three of her friends lives in that rental.
Okay.
We actually fully furnished it. There's a lot of people still moving out here and building, so we were gonna do it more of a short term. Hey, if you're building a house, you can live here for 6 months and just move in and just charge a higher rate. But my daughter came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, can I live in it?" So now she lives in that house, and it's great. So yeah, we she lives in that, and her and all her friends pay us rent, and so we manage that, and then we'll probably be buying another property this year or next year.
Awesome. Awesome. And so right now, someone's going to listen to this and be like, wow, he's doing 60 deals a year. Tell me, do you have a team? Do you have an assistant?
Yeah.
Walk me through kind of the nuts
Yeah,
and
so
bolts there.
from 2021 I'm sorry, 2022 to 2024, I had an assistant. And she was amazing. And she kind of just did everything for me. And it's one of those years that I was doing probably 50 deals and around 35 to 40 million a year. And so I did have an assistant. In 2024, the market kind of shifted and started to slow down a little bit. And so she actually got her license and I kind of mentored her a little bit. And so she's doing full-time real estate and she's doing phenomenal. So I don't have an assistant right now, but I do have a contract to close transaction coordinator. And so I've kind of developed my systems with my CRM and a good relationship with my TC. And he handles everything from the time I go under contract, or he writes up all my listing agreements for me as well. And so that's really critical. A lot of agents say, well, I don't want to get a TC in the beginning because I want to figure out how to do everything. Get a TC.
Hmm.
TC is actually going to help you how to figure out everything and help you be more confident in the paperwork and not let you miss a beat along the way in a transaction. And it's critical because you're dealing with the most expensive decision people have made in their lives. And so a TC is crucial to help you not just, not make mistakes, but be efficient and look
Hmm.
more professional. And so
Well, and the transaction coordinator work is paperwork.
it's not
And
making you money.
it isn't, right? It's actually distracting you from the
Yeah.
duties that we do that make us money, which is people work,
People. Yeah.
right? We work with people, not with paper. And
Yep.
so from early on, you've done that, and that is crucial to your business. Who does all your social media postings today?
I still do all my own social media. I haven't turned that over. That's been a constant conversation with me and some other people, but I've decided to keep control of that and to continue doing it organically.
Yeah. Well, and you enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
There's some things that you're going to learn that in this business, some things you have a tough time letting go of, and you're going to have to figure out which ones you need to let go of and which ones you
Mhm.
can, but also still scale the business.
Yeah. What's your plans for the future?
Yeah, our plan from a real estate perspective is to continue. I don't ever plan to stop working. I
Hmm.
really don't. I don't have a retirement plan, so I would love to do this as long as I can, as long as I'm able to. And then really over the next, 10 years to buy like one property every couple years. So we have, 5 or 6 properties to, as well as our other investments. So really just to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not a business planning type of guy. There's a lot of agents that are, and there's a lot of great things that come from business planning. I've never done a business plan in my entire life. And
Hmm.
so let that be encouraging, but don't let that also say, okay, well, I don't have to do a business plan. You have to work and you have to work hard.
Hmm.
I've never done a business plan. I've just always said, hey, it'd be great to do 20 deals this year. So I always try and match what I did last year. And if I don't, I don't, and I just keep going. And if I do, that's great. And if I exceed it, that's wonderful. Right now I'm on track not to match what I did last year, but I'm going to be doing pretty well. And so I'm not going to get caught up on that. I'm just going to get up and work. So
Well, and you and I both know, having done this for as long as we have now, that you really can't predict how the year's going to go.
yeah.
I mean, a couple years ago, my teammate and I, we had our busiest December ever. We closed like 14 deals in the last
Wow.
45 days of the year. It
Wow.
was crazy. We're like, what happened? And that was an election cycle year. So the president got elected. Everybody that was holding their breath decided to move
Yeah.
forward and close, right? It was like, da, 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 da. And then it was slow start the year after that. But then we had a good year overall. So, well, and agents, guys, if you're listening to us right now and you're thinking, wow, how do I get there? I think that the advice Jared's given us is very simple. You have to post, you have to be bold, you have to meet with people. And this is a people business. And so if you're afraid of talking to people, you might want to reconsider the business.
Yeah, yeah, you're so right. And I tell agents all the time, if you're not on social media, if I go to your social media account and I don't see one thing about real estate, or I see, you have 50 posts and I see two real estate posts, you're going to fail miserably.
Yeah.
Like you need to convert your activity. You're doing this to make it a living and to make money. 90% of your posts have to be real estate driven. And that's just the social media side, right? And then
Yeah.
what are your conversations? How are you engaging people online? How are you strategically looking at people's birthdays and events in their lives? One thing I love doing is I love following people on social media and seeing a lot of times they'll check in to where they're eating. I love calling that restaurant and paying for their meal. And I say, hey, please tell them Jared says, I hope you enjoy the meal and I hope you're loving the house. And they
Wow.
love it. And a lot of times they'll post about it. And I love doing that. And so that's just one little thing that's creative that how can I spend my money, my marketing money in the lives of people to make an impact on people versus just farming a neighborhood versus just doing something else? How can we make an impact that's so great that causes someone to be like, wow, that was amazing, right?
Well, and that makes you different.
Yeah.
Number one, you're not overly stressed, worried about every deal, which creates what they call commission breath, and like it's just a turn off to clients, and you're there to serve them, and people genuinely know that.
Yeah.
And Jared, I can say this too for those that don't know you personally. I know you love what you do.
Hmm.
And I think when people meet you, they say that people feel your energy before they even meet you. Like when you walk into a room, they just know. Like when Jared, you walk in, they're like, "Wow, this guy's demeanor. I mean, he's happy and excited to be here, and he seems eager to help." And I think they sense that from you.
Yeah,
And so,
and I will say this, not everybody gets to do a job that they love. I was in the workforce for 20 years and I hated my job. I hated my job, but it's an attitude, right? And I'm so grateful I get to do what I get to do now because you're right. I absolutely love what I'm doing and I hated what I was doing in the corporate work, but it was a great job and was very thankful for it and it provided for my family. So you still could be very successful and not love it, but you really need to be in front. The impression you make on your clients in this job is everything. And you only get one chance to make a first impression. And it's
yeah,
critical that you go in prepared, you go in joyful, you go in confident, because you never get that chance back.
yeah,
And so it's just critical that you make that first impression and you leave a good, long-lasting impression on someone.
yeah. And you're not pressured for time. You just take your time.
Yep.
Right? If it's an hour meeting, great. If it's a 2 hour
Yeah.
meeting, great. Like you're not like, okay, we got 48 minutes between now and my next appointment. Yeah, let's quick get it in. Because they
Yeah.
sense that too.
Oh
You know,
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be looking at your watch. If you have a little, if you have an Apple Watch, turn it off because I think you're looking at your time, not your text that just came through.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, wow, this guy's distracted.
Yeah, he really
Yeah.
wants to leave.
Yeah, exactly. He's checked his
Um,
watch 4 times in the last
one
22
one
minutes.
thing I do that is also a little unique is I just got a Jared Johnson real estate shirt that, and I wear it everywhere. You should see my closet. There's 30 black t-shirts that say Jared Johnson real estate. And so I've always worn that or something that reflects real estate. And that's all I do. And I walk downtown Franklin constantly,
Yeah.
constantly. People have become to just, hey, and so it's a noticeable thing. And sometimes it's a joke, but I don't mind if it's a joke when people are like, oh, you're wearing your outfit again. Yep, I am.
Yeah.
So
It is my
just one way,
uniform.
one simple way to market myself, and it actually makes my wardrobe selections really easy.
Yes, it does. It's the kind of the Steve Jobs, I'm only going to wear black,
Yeah,
right?
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Steve
So
Jobs of real estate.
that's right. So I can attest to that because when we started our office, used to wear the Impact Properties
Hmm.
shirts around, and I would have people that knew me that were in Franklin, and they would say, "Hey, Aaron, we saw
I
somebody
saw that
with
guy.
an Impact Properties shirt," and then yeah, I'm like, "Yeah, that's Jared probably," you know. And so
Love
it
it.
works. It does work, and it is branding, and it is marketing, and it is consistency. So, Jared, take me back. I know it's only been 7 years, really.
Yeah.
Um, if you could go back and give advice to the brand new agent, Jared Johnson,
Mm.
and say, hey, there's one thing that you really need to know, and it's going to help you out that you wish you had known, what would you go back and tell yourself?
I would just say have patience, give yourself grace. I'm a very impatient person, very impatient. I want to get things done now. And so we opened up our office in January 2019. I don't know if you remember, but in November 2019, I called you and said, I'm kind of it was only me at the time. And so I don't know if you remember, I wanted camaraderie.
Mhm.
It wasn't as busy as I wanted it to be, and I was a little impatient. And you said you just reminded me we got to give it time, and we did some things on social media, you and I, and 2020 just blew up for us, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
But that first year is the hardest year, and I tell agents all the time that first year you might do 1 to 3 deals, might. So you got to have patience, and if you go in with that expectation, that calibrated expectation, you're not going to be so discouraged. And then the other thing is comparison, and comparing yourself to other people and other agents it's the thief of joy. Like it will kill you and your business because you will not want to show your head anywhere because you're not doing the deals that the guy next to you is. The guy that's in my office next to me, he's going to do 85 million this year alone. He's phenomenal. I almost didn't want to come to Compass because I was going to be a small fish in a big pond, right? But now I'm able to walk over to his office and chat with him, and I can chase him. So you say that what's that one thing? Be patient, give yourself grace. It takes time.
Mm. And I do like what you added there, which is the comparison is the killer of joy. You know, uh, if all you're trying to do is compare yourself, like you'll never be content, you'll never be happy, you'll always feel like somebody else is going to do better. And people sense that. They really do.
And I battle that today, right? Like
Yeah.
we all battle it, but you just have to go in knowing that you can't do it. And when you
Yeah.
start to do it, you got to preach to yourself, like, come on, like
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
back on everything you've done and what everything, how productive you've been. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Well, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Alex Hermosi. He was doing a show, and he says, "So my wife and I live in this building in New York, and if it's not him, the story is still very similar to this." And he said, my wife and I have multiple businesses. We're going to make $800 million this year. And he says, and you're probably thinking, wow, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Look at those guys. They're making so much. He said, but the guy who lives above me, he's going to make 3 billion. you know and he's like, we all have somebody we can compare ourselves to
Yeah.
that makes us feel small. But I like what you do, Jared. I like the fact that you keep your head down, you work hard, you serve your people, And at the end of the day, the number one person you're competing against is your previous year's
Yep.
Jared.
100%.
Let's make it better than last year. And that's a person you can beat, because that's the person that was developing who you are today
Yeah, and
as an agent.
I agree. And I would say one other thing I would give to agents too is this is a reactive business. And so agents always say, "Hey, I want to get into this business to make my own schedule."
He has this laugh right now.
Oh, like if you think about it, the 99% of your clients are on a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, right? So your schedule, if you're getting into real estate, starts at 5:30 p.m. for a lot of almost all your clients. So be okay working 7 days a week and 80, 90 hours a week sometimes because that's your job. That's what you're signing up for. You're not signing up for a job that doesn't dictate that. Like you
Yeah.
are at the beck and call from if you're representing a client and they need to go look at houses this weekend and they have 10 houses, you got to go show them those.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that still happens. I've been in the business for 25 years, and we had an open house that needed specific hours. I couldn't find anybody to fill it. So guess who got to do it? Me. Saturday and Sunday, still in this business, 25 years. It
Yeah.
is still the nature of this business. If a buyer says, "Hey, I want to go look at this property," you say yes.
Yeah.
And
Figure it out.
you figure it out. I was with my family, Jared, a couple weeks ago, and I got a call. It was a Sunday afternoon, and it was like 4 o'clock, and I was in Costa Mesa, and I got a call from somebody who says, "Hey, we're at a new build, and they can't use you. I can't use you as an agent, but if you
You're not there.
show up today, they'll put your name on the contract, and you can get paid." And I looked at I said, "What's the address?" They texted, said, hour and 12 minutes away. And I'm with my family eating, these like this matcha crepes, which is pretty cool. And I looked at my wife and I looked at my kids, and I was like, "Hey guys,
We got to go.
we got to go." And I dropped them off at home,
And and they understood.
they were like, "Go make the money, Dad.
Yeah.
Go make the
Yeah.
money." Right? Because we're all in it together.
We're on it together. You've set that expectation. And as a new agent, you just need to set your expectation. Like it's not your schedule. You are not, you might be setting the schedule, but it's going to change. Like my wife always asks me what's going on tomorrow. I'm like, as of right now,
As if
I
right
have these
now.
3 appointments and it changes every single day, every single week.
Yes, yes. So, well, Jared, it has been a pleasure to watch you grow and to watch you succeed and to thrive in your career of choice, right? That you finally
Yeah,
made the choice to do it full time, and it's been fun to watch you, and it's been an honor for me to have you on this show, knowing that I've been able to be a part of that and watch it from the inside. So, Jared, if someone's moving to Nashville or has a client moving to Nashville, give us some of the major cities you work in. I know there's about 10 or 12 of them you could just name off. And I want them to come follow you, find you. So, what's your social media and how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, first of all, I wouldn't be here today without you. You were a phenomenal broker when we got to work together, and those times together were pivotal in creating my career and landscape, and it was amazing. So I learned so much from you. So I thank you for that. And then from social media accounts, Jared Johnson Real Estate on Instagram, and then Jared Johnson Facebook, and then I'm in the greater Nashville area, but I'm in downtown Franklin. Jared Johnson homes at gmail.com. Very simple. Jared Johnson homes at gmail.com is my email. And 615-968-1672 is my cell. And I serve, an hour out from Nashville and Franklin. So a huge radius.
And you love working with buyers even today. You'll see Jared in his silver F-150, unless you've upgraded or changed
Black.
it
I
since then. Oh,
upgraded.
it's black now.
I upgraded. And I might
Okay.
be upgrading today too. So
Okay. All right. Forget that. Just look for Jared Johnson walking down the street of Franklin with his black
right there.
shirt
Right there.
on right there. Okay. Look for Jared Johnson. You can't miss him. And for those of you who are going to be out there in that area, he does need advance notice. I'm going to tell you that because he's got clients calling him, scheduling weeks and months in advance. And so make that appointment, give him a call, and he will certainly take care of you. Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, Jared, appreciate you being on the show today. I'm going to do some closing remarks here and then we'll sign off. For those of you who spent your time with us today on the show, thank you so much for spending it with us. Jared Johnson is a top producing agent at Compass in the Nashville market. Today, he shared with us a lot of great advice. Not only if you're new, but also if you're struggling. Perhaps you've been in this business 4 or 5 years, and this last 3 years have been really, really tough. I encourage you to go back, take notes, learn from this podcast. And if you think that you or somebody else benefited from it, we'd encourage you to take a screenshot of wherever you're listening to it or watching it and share it, and then subscribe and like. That would be helpful for us. And Jared mentioned the book that I have written, and it is available on Amazon. It's called Reaping a Real Estate Harvest. And those are lessons that I learned from watching my grandfather farm his peach and nectarine farm. And what we do as real estate agents is much like the old farmers who raised crops. And so we do get to reap the harvest when we sow the right seed. So thanks for being here today. And until next time, may God bless you and watch over you, and may He prosper you in your career. And if you need any advice or need any help, head over to aaronzapata.com and you can listen to all of our shows there. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.